Mark Skaar on the Skaar Kaard on 103.7 The Fox. As I welcome in Eric Fraser from Corvus Lore. Eric, how are you?
Hey, Mark. Very nice to meet you.
Likewise, nice to have you on our show. I got to tell you, these songs from this forthcoming album called Lucida, Boxing Ballerina, and Romantic Traffic are earworms. I can't get them out of my head, so congratulations, because that's no small feat.
Oh, well, first of all, thank you for saying that. Yeah, we're really proud of both singles, Boxing Ballerina being the first one. The video was fun to produce. We received some accolades from a local film festival on it, and the band definitely plays an active role in getting the videos produced with our director, Mike Sloat. But yeah, and we definitely pay a lot of attention to the craft of songwriting, and especially in the form of lyrics from our singer, Ryan Jones.
I was going to say, it's very obvious to me, Eric, that you guys this isn't your first rodeo.
No, it is not. No, I mean, in terms of like our background, so full disclosure, back in the early 2000s, my brother and I were signed to Sony EMI Records with a Latin pop band called Cielo Ceniza, and recorded an album in Madrid, and did TV and radio out there, and that was a fun project to work on. And likewise, our singer Ryan Jones has done a ton of songwriting work when he lived in Los Angeles, and has worked with guys like Bob Kulick and a few others. So yeah, we've done some things before, but this band certainly has kind of captured all of our collective interest and creative juices, and just we're really happy with the songs that we're writing and producing.
Talking with Eric Fraser from Corvus Lore, let's talk about the rhythm section. Tell me about those guys.
On bass is Mike Onetto, and Mike and I have also played in several bands before coming together with Cielo Ceniza. He is a phenomenal musician. Kind of scary, too, when we have band practice. Just watching the guy warm up is a frightening experience, only because even in the context of producing rock music like we do, it's only the tip of the iceberg for what Mike is capable of. And then on drums, we have Joe Cloutier. We all met together at Joe's house for the first time 6 years ago, just kind of with the idea of writing tunes, but also jamming some covers. And then the chemistry just kind of all came together, and we knew we had something special.
For the uninitiated, there was an EP with 7 songs released in 2019, the self-titled first thing you put out.
Right, yeah. That was done about 3 or 4 years ago, and basically took on the project ourselves. So we self-funded it, did a complete direct-to-tape analog recording at a place called Tiny Telephone in Oakland, California, and did the project in about 6 days, top to bottom, which was a very unique experience. The live room had like a 30-foot ceiling. Just the experience of doing things in an analog format was something that we definitely wanted to test out. It was fun to do the project in that way, all of us together in the same room and just putting out one song after the other to tape.
Talking with Eric Fraser from Corvus Lore. The forthcoming album, Lucida, what's the street date for that, Eric?
The plan with the release of Lucida and in our working with Valley of Fire Records is to, for the time being, focus on releasing singles. So as you mentioned, Mark, we did Boxing Ballerina back, I think, in May, and then available on all streaming services for Romantic Traffic. So if you go to Spotify or you go to Apple Music or wherever you find music, you will see that the song has officially been released. And then we'll see if we want to release another single off the album Lucida, but I would imagine that the full album would be available either later this year or sometime early in 2023.
Eric, you mentioned Lucida and you mentioned Valley of Fire Records, and that's where kind of, I guess, our collective connection happens because of a guy I've been following for, over 20 years now, and that's Tim Narducci, who has produced this for you and works hand in hand with you, and he's going to be releasing it.
Yeah, Tim and his partner, J.J. Garcia, run up Valley of Fire Records. We were actually the first band to be signed and put onto the label. And, I mean, I can't tell you how rewarding it is just to have a collection of guys that are invested in the tunes and the band, the support from them has been amazing. And we have conversations and communications pretty much daily, and so their focus on our particular project has been really rewarding for us. So yeah, thank you, Valley of Fire Records.
We're with Eric Fraser from Corvus Lore. Let's get into the videos a little bit. We kind of touched on it, but there's a certain amount of visual activity going on and some acting as well, especially in Romantic Traffic. But let's go back to Boxing Ballerina and set that one up, please, for our listeners.
Yeah, absolutely. So as the name would kind of indicate, there's a couple paths we could have taken with the video. Basically, you could do like a straight band type performance, but we really wanted to, for our first video out of the gate, try to put together something special. So we located a gym, a boxing gym in downtown San Jose, and we're able to get all of our equipment inside of the boxing ring. And with our director, Mike Sloat, we put together a video that not only included some band performance, but also some other scenes to basically pull in the elements of this entire story around Boxing Ballerina, which our singer Ryan Jones has described really as kind of a metaphor for the struggles that you might have either in personal relationships or with people that are very close to you, and how you learn to deal with those and come to kind of a middle ground. Anyways, the theme for that definitely was kind of a Raging Bull theme. I don't know if you picked up on that.
Sure.
And so we were really happy with the way that turned out and knew that we had to do something entirely different for Romantic Traffic.
Which you did, and it involves a stewardess and some other people here and there.
So the song in itself, I mean, I'll get to the video in a second, is really revolves around our singer Ryan and his travel away from the United States. So a few years back, he had to do some extensive travel to Taiwan and to China. And when people think of traveling abroad, that it's very romanticized, or, oh, you get to go to this exotic location. But from a work angle, it's definitely much more stressful, and it can take its toll on personal relationships and family and otherwise. So the song definitely has lyrics that kind of paint that picture in a beautiful way. The video we shot over 2 days in downtown Santa Rosa, and so all of the kind of city shots and around town were done with some actors and completely not blocked off at all. I mean, we were basically kind of shooting and running, as they say. So yeah, we pulled in some good actors for the taxi driver, and then day two was all around the shots with the airplane. So that was done at the Santa Rosa Air Museum, and this particular airplane is a 1964 Learjet that was used for some exterior shots in the 007 movie Goldfinger.
That's right.
That. I would say that the ceiling height inside of that jet was probably around 5 feet 10 inches. So our director Mike he's not a short guy, he's probably about 6'2". So we were figuring out ways that we could utilize that space appropriately for getting the band in there. Our drummer Joe, he's playing kind of the boozy flight captain.
Yes.
And in my opinion, that the actor that steals the show is our flight attendant. And her name is V for Victoria Montrond, and she's just a badass. She is a personal trainer. She's an arborist, skydiver, actually a guitar player as well. In fact, in some of those scenes where she and I are conversing with each other during the guitar solo section, she was having fun with just kind of kidding around, talking about guitar terms, and do you like mahogany-based guitar bodies, and do you like to do guitar sweep picking and flashy guitar style, and just kind of having fun with it. But yeah, she was a blast to work with.
And rolling her eyes and licking the tip of the wine glass. I got a kick out of some of that stuff.
Yeah. She definitely stole the show from the video shoot. But and then even just the shots around town in that kind of interesting bicycle with the sidecar. Ryan, our singer, loaded up with his luggage and guitar case, and yeah, it was just, we really got the best of doing a 2-day shoot, and Mike Sloat definitely brought that vision to life.
Talking with Eric Fraser from Corvus Lore. Eric, what would you say musically informs the band? What are some of the influences that you would, just for the uninitiated that might say, well, what are they like?
I would say that our roots are grounded definitely in Led Zeppelin era, certainly from the 70s, but then moving on to other influences, like I would say like maybe the bands like The Cult, certainly Stone Temple Pilots, just bands that are rock-based but create songs that, you definitely would want to repeat spin. Earworms, as you said, listen to more than once. It's definitely guitar-based rock. We spend a lot of time focusing on how those guitars are presented and give them a classic feel.
Eric, also, we want to tell our listeners about the aforementioned Tim Narducci-based project Sundragon, which you're also involved in.
Right, yeah. Sundragon, as it stands now, it's just a collection of guys that have an interest in writing songs together. And so it's some guys from Corvus Lore. It's also a couple of folks from, the Watchers. Mm-hmm. So as you may or may not know, Tim is the lead singer of the Watchers, and Jeremy Epp is actually doing drums on Sundragon. So it's kind of a different, shift in what he's known for, because he's just a slayer on guitar.
Oh, he's incredible.
Yeah, and for the bass guitar stuff, we'll bring in various different other players. But the idea right now is just to write songs, get an EP together, and then who knows, there could be some live shows down the road.
And right now there's one song out there.
Correct. Yeah, that song is called Anastemi, and that you can find that on the Valley of Fire Records YouTube channel. That song, for me, is very special because our close friend Kevin Hallbrook is also the guy who builds amps. He builds amps for Corvus Lore, builds amps for the guys in the Watchers, and Tim Narducci. We all own Kevin's amps, and he suffered a personal family tragedy about 2 years ago, and that particular tragedy sparked the interest in creating a song where we could kind of pay homage and do a memorial to his lost son. And we're really happy with the way it's turned out, and have received a lot of positive feedback about it.
Eric, what's 2023 looking like for Corvus Lore?
2023 for us is going to be about getting the band in front of more people. So our focus right now is trying to land some larger club or theater-based gigs, hopefully getting on the bill with some known bands. For example, we recently opened up a show with Richie Kotzen about a month or two ago in Southern California, and then released the album and then focus on the next one. So we've already got songs written for the next album. We got about 4 or 5 done, and we're going to continue to keep writing. Finally,
what is the significance of the title Lucida?
Lucida it really revolves around the word, or the meaning of it is around home. So Ryan is he writes all of the lyrics, and so as he was collecting the lyrics for the 9 songs that are going to appear on the album, he was kind of revolving around this idea of a North Star or home, and so that's where that name comes from.
I can't wait to hear Lucida. I'm looking forward to all the music, and Eric, I want to wish you all the best going forward.
Mark, it's been a pleasure, and I really hope that your listeners enjoy listening to our new single.
For Eric Fraser from Corvus Lore, I'm Mark Skaar. This is the Skaar Kaard on 103.7 The Fox.